What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about ARVL. My last video was talking basically on if a squeeze was going to continue. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of what the data is saying as of right now and whether a squeeze, like I said, is still technically on the table. So before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get right to it. One thing to note, before I go over the short interest and everything, the volume has dropped quite a lot. So the average is 14.4 million. Right now, just based on the day's volume, is 14.2. Market did close roughly about an hour ago, but when it was squeezing, it was significantly higher. So that's something that you need to factor into the grand scheme of things. As far as this, so I did bring up on my last video, all the transactions that did occur, both on the dark pool and secondary market. So these are the transactions from the secondary market, which again is what typical retail investors do trade on. There wasn't anything today, so it goes to show a little bit more of a slowing. As you can see, there was a lot on the 13th, 17th, and 19th. Outside of that, it was kind of dead for the most part. And this is all the transactions on the dark pool. So there was in fact one today, $205,000 for one transaction. So in general, that is pretty good. But keep in mind, the dark pool is typically used for shorting purposes, for short side either add or kind of reduce or return their shares. So again, that's something that you need to factor in. As far as what shorts did today, short score is currently 87. The higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. Utilization is 100%. And as I mentioned last time, you need that at 100% for a fairly good squeeze. And overall though, some other factors that you do need, there's a total of 57.43 million shares that is being shorted. Today, with the market being closed, shorts did in fact return 1.91 million shares, and still though 24.95% is the overall short interest, which is a percentage of the free float. But again, I just want to draw your attention to cost to borrow. The average is in fact 229.72%, which has gone down based on my last video, but still 230% is still high. And in case you guys don't know what that does mean, cost to borrow is basically what shorts do pay to maintain their position on an annual basis, of course. So depending on if there is any operational updates for ARVL, there could be a very good squeeze as a result, because of course the risk versus return wouldn't necessarily be there with the cost of borrow extremely high as it is. So again, behind the scenes, I think it is still having a good likelihood of a squeeze happening. And I think right now there is a big fight, or at least a movement right now towards shorting and naked shorting. And I think in general, though, a lot of people are starting to realize that a lot of good, credible companies such as ARVL are getting pretty much just destroyed by shorts. And again, I think this is really sad to see. I do cover Mullen on my other channel, Financial Journey, quite a lot, and they did in fact start a petition basically to fight naked shorting, calling out for the CEO of Mullen to basically do something about it. So that might be an opportunity for ARVL or for someone else to start a petition of similar nature. So again, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But what is the technicals in fact saying? So right now still is higher percentile of the Bollinger Band and above the 50-day moving average. So I know it has gone down quite a lot from its peak right here, but still it is above that 50-day moving average. So still a very bullish sentiment behind that. Stochastic went from very much overbought to very much oversold, or kind of neutral a little bit. So 39. Number of retail investors for the most part are still getting into ARVL. So definitely a very positive thing in that regard. And so as you can see, the outside percentile of the Bollinger Band and also that 100-day moving average are basically right above it. So that is going to be a lot of heavy resistance. So definitely something needs to happen, whether it be positive PR or potentially ARVL just starting this of similar nature for it to go up. Obviously, there's a lot of different external factors. The market seems to be in a euphoria right now. Just everything seems to be going up and up, with the exception clearly of ARVL, which did close down 2.17%. But I think there is still a lot of opportunity for ARVL. But as far as the risk versus return when it comes down to this, I think this is why shorts over the last little bit have really doubled down and increased it from roughly about 16% to around the 25% short interest that it is now. So they're really sharks right now and vultures, and they do sense a lot of fear among retail investors. So again, just my interpretation of how things are. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Arrival. Are you a big fan of it? Are you buying, selling, holding, whatever you're doing? Give yourself a shout out in the comments below. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Arrival.